Hello and good evening or afternoon, everybody. I'm Alfred Wilhawk, and I am here with Samina Ocean, all the way from Las Vegas. And it is a great pleasure to be with this fantastic artist. How are you doing tonight, Samina?
I'm fabulous. Fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing just great. I'm doing just great. I'm probably a little colder than you are because I'm in southern Missouri, but I'm sure the weather there in Las Vegas is awesome.
Oh, it's
Um,
beautiful.
Yeah, that's what people tell me all the time, and I'm gonna have to get out there because it's too cold. See, I'm wearing a sweater and all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah, and I'm wearing a really short sleeve shirt and I'm a little warm.
yeah, see, and I've even got the heater on. So, okay, so now that we've shown at how much better off you are in weather, all right, so let's kind of a lot of times our audience wants to know when we meet new musicians, that's like, how did you get into your spiritual practice? And then some information about your own spiritual practice.
Well, how I got into my spiritual practice is quite the story. I was born Methodist, well, baptized Methodist. Then we became Episcopalian because my father was Catholic and my mom was trying to get him back into the church. So we went to Catholic Light. And then after she passed away when I was young, my grandmother moved in, and then all of a sudden I was a born again Christian. And then I realized that's not the path that I really wanted to follow. It just never felt right to me. Big long story about how I exited that. But years later, I also got into the practice of stage magic.
Hmm.
Um, and my friend that was living next door, I knew I always was on a spiritual path, but I hadn't quite figured out what that was yet. Going to these little, sometimes, little spiritual groups, but I never had really found what clicked with me the best. And my next door neighbor, um, told me she says, you should go to Bell Book and Candle with me. That was this occult shop here in town. And I was like, okay, cool, let's go. And it was so neat. It was like a real witchy shop, not like these big spiritual mega stores, but you walked in, you're like, ooh, there's herbs over here and candles and all kind of juju. And I was just jazzed. And I started just absorbing into that. And Lucky, who was the owner at the time, became friends with him, and we were doing like these candle magic classes, and I was just absorbing all of this and just become pretty much a solitary practitioner because there was really not a lot of circles in town that I cared to be involved with. Got invited to a couple full moon ceremonies. Actually, the first um, full moon I ever went to was led by Raymond Buckland.
Hmm.
But to me, it just seemed so rigid and so, I mean, I felt like I was back in church. I was sitting there going, okay, this is just too solemn. And I just didn't feel like that was the way I wanted to go either.
Hmm.
And one day, though, when I was in Bell Book and Candle, I was looking at Lucky had this big wall of famous people that he knew that, came into the store and stuff. And he says, "Oh, look, there's Jeff McBride." He says, "Don't you know Jeff McBride, right?" And I'm like, "No, don't really know Jeff McBride." He goes, "Well, you should. He's into both kind of magics like you, ceremonial magic and stage magic. And I was like, "Oh, okay." Because you need to know Jeff McBride. I'm like, "Okay." Um, a couple of weeks later, I was talking to a friend of mine, Lance Burton, who was into, not everybody knows Lance anymore. He kind of disappeared, but he had specials and he was like a big name magician. And I was talking to him and I didn't even mention Lucky at all. And he said something about Jeff McBride. And I was like, who is this Jeff McBride guy? And he says, well, you need to know Jeff McBride. I'm like, okay, I need to know Jeff McBride. And it was like a week or so after that, I'm driving down the freeway and I see this big billboard that says David Brenner, and opening for David Brenner was Jeff McBride. I went, holy crap. Well, if that isn't a message slapping me in the face, I don't know what is. So on opening night, I sent Jeff bouquet of flowers with a card in it that says, both Lucky and Lance Burton say that I need to meet you, so I'm introducing myself. And after the show, I called him up and said, hi, because he's like, I know my way around the stage. I was raised in show business. So I called backstage and he sounded a little iffy. And he's like, well, why don't you come and see the show tomorrow night? I'll comp you in, which I did. And it was amazing. I'd never seen magic like Jeff was doing. It was just esoteric. It was wonderful. And after the show, we went out to dinner and then we went up to his room and he's showing me all this amazing magic that I had seen before, but with the really amazing spiritual twist and message. And I was just enthralled, and we just sat and just talked and just bounced, information off of each other until sunrise. And I ended up going to his mystery school in New York, which is the combination of both magics. There was stage magic, there was esoteric magic, and I was just like, wow. And then from there, I found out about the Spiral Gathering in Georgia, and I wound up going to that, dragging my sister along, and I'm doing all of these events on the East Coast. And one day I said, Jeff, I need this on the West Coast. And he goes, well, you need to talk to Caitlin Miller, who was Miller at the time, but now she's Breen, who also was in the same. She was in the esoteric and the magic world, and it wound out that her and I even worked the same clubs at different times. And
Wow.
And she had just married a musician from Vegas. She was living in Long Beach, and she had just moved to Vegas. So I got her number through Lance Burton. Actually, Caitlin had gone to the first mystery school that Jeff had. I went to the second, third, and fourth. So I ended up getting her number from Lance Burton. And then I called her and she's like, oh my God, she says, yes, we have to meet. And once she got settled into her new house, her and I met up. I dragged Lucky along from Bell Book and Candle, and Caitlin and I were like these twin sister flames. We just became, family. And she was taking me to Long Beach because that was where her community was with the OTO. And I was doing all these amazing OTO rituals in Long Beach, like the Eleusinian mysteries that Caitlin had brought back from Greece. They were, it was just an amazing adventure. As a matter of fact, the one song that I have on Cauldron Radio is Bring Back the Sun, which is about that whole experience of the Eleusinian mysteries, finding your inner child and healing that darkness, that inner child within, and just becoming whole again, bringing back the sun. Anyway, so shortly after, we'd been doing that, Caitlin just called me up one day and she said, Sam, I want to start a circle here in Vegas. Are you with me? Would you do this with me? I said, oh, yes, I would. So that is how I started on actually finding the spiritual path that felt right to me. I created it with Caitlin. The OTO was wonderful, but it just still didn't resonate with how the fullness of what felt good and balanced to me. It was too mathematical. I'm more earthy and feeling and just going with the flow kind of a thing. And Caitlin and I began Desert Moon Circle. And it was it turned out to be this very eclectic, just free-flowing, everything. We combined everything into our rituals, and it became exactly what her and I had envisioned, just having this amazing circle. It wasn't a coven. We didn't have, actually sometimes we'd have over 100 people coming.
Oh my.
Yeah, and we never advertised, we never put anything out. It was just word of mouth. And there was one after one ritual because when I went to mystery school, of course, I met Spinner, Abigail McBride.
Mm-hmm.
And through her, I was there the first time that she ever recorded some of her chants.
Hmm.
Behold, there is magic. I was there when this little tape that was on the
Yeah.
little tape first,
Yeah.
and I she asked me if I would stay after mystery school and help her record this stuff. So I did. I stayed, and her and Jeff and I did a lot of backup singing for her and that. Well, I took some of her chants, that one in particular, and that's how we open our circle. Behold, there is magic all around us. And we go to each quarter after we'd say, awaken, rejoice, and sing. And then some,
Hmm.
you sing in the element. And after you do that, then the person in um, that element calls it in. And
Hmm.
so we developed this joyous circle. And after opening the circle like that and doing this whole ritual that we did, I had a woman come up to me afterwards who had been to one of these more solemn kind of groups. And she said, I have never seen such joy in a circle before. She says, you sing that in, it's just so radiant and everybody is just so joyous. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that the way it's supposed to be?
Uh-huh.
Unless you're doing something dark and serious and, you know, but so that is basically how I got onto the path and how we put together Desert Moon Circle, and it's just blossomed out. COVID kind of put a damper on things for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but it's starting to
Mm-hmm.
come back together again now,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you would say that, so if someone was trying to identify your spiritual path, so then it's eclectic but also much deeper, and its major focus is bliss. Would you say is the bliss of self and the expression of that? I'm just trying to give our audience a good
Right.
understanding.
Well, it's it's a structured, non-structured. We had a structure for our ceremonies, of course.
Of course.
Um, but and we allow our members, we didn't have just like the high priest and priestess. We had priestesses and priests of the circle. Of course, Catlin and I and Bob and Norma were like the um main figureheads at first, but then we had like a council. We have a
Mm-hmm.
council, and in December, the council members would all get together. We'd have dinner and we would discuss what rituals we were going to do and when. I mean, not what rituals, but the day we're going to do them. And each
Mm-hmm.
council member said, okay, well, I want to do this one this year. So each council member would head up whatever ritual they wanted to do in whatever month and put it
Mm-hmm.
together. And whomever in the circle wanted to be involved
Mm-hmm.
would say, okay, yeah, I want to help do that one. I want to do that one. And whatever tradition they wanted to do it in. So
Mm.
it's just like free flowing and traditional in a non-traditional kind of way, I suppose you could say
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
we had some more, I wouldn't say heavier, but more heavy in the energy, like this. We're going into the underworld now, more serious, I think you would say, not heavier, but
Mm-hmm.
serious rituals. And we'd have our fairy rituals where
Mm-hmm.
the little kids would dress up like fairies and come out and play.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, my spiritual path, I mean, everybody has to be on their own
Mm-hmm.
spiritual path, but you just have to find what's right for you. And if a solemn, circle and ritual and structured, more structured like that, if that's for you, that works, that's wonderful. But I say if you can't find what it is that you feel that kind of fills your soul and your heart, then you kind of have to create it yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really interesting. Of course, we had there's that one line in a particular poem that says, that talks about mirth and that how mirth is important.
Mirth and merriment.
Mirth and merriment,
Mirth and
exactly,
merriment among you. Yep, that's the
exactly.
charge of the goddess.
Exactly. And so it's kind of like this whole idea of the solemnity that some groups have, or the thinning of the focus, that just that this is the only way. It causes us issues because that's everybody's path is everybody's path. We're all human. We're all seeking consciousness. We're all seeking bliss. We're all seeking
Yep.
joy, but it doesn't really matter, right? And I'm not going to go on my soapbox because this is you. I can have a whole show about me. Um, but I really appreciate your comments on that because it leads me to a place that we need to be open and we need to be have the ability to serve everybody that comes to us. Would you not say that?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree.
So
Um,
please, please go
no,
ahead.
I was just furthering what you were saying. Everybody's got whatever path feels right for them, as long as it's harming none and, for the good of all,
Hmm.
you
So
know.
yeah, I think that's really I think that's really the key thing, especially now in the 21st century when we look at Gen Z and their aversion to organized structures, regardless of what they are. This is the
Well,
kind of thing that we need to.
I'm a baby boomer, and I have an aversion to that too.
Yeah, I'm a baby boomer too, and I also have an aversion to that, and that's why our group doesn't have that kind of thing, on at least on the
Yes.
outside. So, so do I understand? So your path is kind of this combination of all different paths, and are you involved with any other groups as well? Are you involved with anything else in any other in the spiritual structures?
Um, well, I go out to the Sekhmet temple here in the
Hmm.
desert, the
Which is
goddess temple.
Abyssale. That's Abby's temple, right?
Well, it's not Abby's temple, but we all go out there. Right now, the priestesses out there are Aria and geez, I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting not Mary Beth, that's my niece. Um, anyway, um, so it's run by priestesses that live out there.
Hmm.
And it's the we all are welcome, everybody's welcome, and they hold rituals for all of the Sabbats and the full moons and the new
Hmm.
moons, and so whoever shows up out there shows up. You can have retreats out there. We have Mayfire out there because Jeff and Abby have the Vegas Vortex gatherings, and we're going to have
Hmm.
Bone Dance out there because I'm involved with
Ooh.
Vegas Vortex. We have Bone Dance for Halloween, which is an all-night alchemical fire circle.
Mm.
Um, and so you just drum and dance around the fire all night and sing and chant and bring your stories, bring your lead, turn it into gold. We honor the ancestors of Bone Dance because
Hmm.
that's the time of year.
Yeah.
And Mayfire is held out there, so that's an event in May, of course, hence
Hmm.
the name. And that's it's 3 nights of fire, but a lot of people out there for 4 nights.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
there's camping and all kind of stuff, and
Hmm.
there's a little cabin out there with rooms and
Hmm.
guest house. I mean, so that I'm involved with as well.
Hmm.
And there's other groups. There's the Sin City Witches that I do stuff
Hmm.
with. That's a newer group that's popped up.
Hmm.
Melissa, I can't remember her last name, but she runs that. So I show up to some of their stuff when I can. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of good things going on in Vegas now concerning that. So
I have heard that, and that was kind of why I kind of led that question to you. Was that I had heard that Vegas was is really um, becoming a focal for a lot of the more esoteric and quote unquote alternative spiritual paths now, which is really nice
Yeah.
to see. Um, so then, what what is your favorite musical genre? And I guess that's going to lead me into how did you get into music?
Well, I don't really have a favorite. It depends on what mood I'm in and what I'm doing.
Hmm.
I pretty much love everything except rap.
Okay.
I was raised, my father was an entertainer, a
Mm.
singer and a comedian, and along the era of you know, nightclubs that was like burlesque, the end
Hmm.
of vaudeville going into burlesque, where you had uh, comedians and singers and strippers and picture I Love Lucy, how Ricky was,
Hmm.
with the big band in the background. And
Hmm.
yeah, dinner shows and all the tables had the tablecloths and candles, and people would eat and then have this variety burlesque kind of show. And I was
Hmm.
raised in that genre. I grew up on the road with that, and going to rehearsals, and just raised with that music constantly. And I was a dancer on stage with my dad, and since I was 3. So,
Hmm. Wow. Okay.
and music's always been a part of my life. And we moved to Vegas finally in 1968 when my dad was getting booked really solidly in the shows here. And I continued my path. Uh, when I was 19, I started just dancing in shows and
Hmm.
doing like backup singing and dancing. And I got into the shows that I could. I didn't really start singing until I was in my 20s. Didn't
Hmm.
know I could sing. My focus was just on dancing.
Hmm.
That was my passion at the time. And
Hmm.
then I realized, oh, I can sing. Oh, I love singing. Um, so I did a lot of backup singing and dancing, and but now, I started playing guitar. Oh my goodness. I think in at the year 2000. Yep.
Hmm.
1999 or 2000, I started playing guitar because I just wanted to do Bardic circles and sing and play, and I started writing music, and it just escalated from there. And now that I'm older, my dance career is long gone. Body just can't do that stuff anymore, not like
Hmm.
I used to. And um, so now my focus is singing. I'm a gondolier at the Venetian. That's my full-time job. I sing uh, on a gondola in a mall.
Hmm.
Basically, it's what it is. In a mall that looks like Venice. I
Wow.
take passengers up and down the canal and sing Italian songs all night.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yep,
goodness.
keeps the chops up.
I bet it does. I bet it does. So,
Actually, my voice is much better than because the songs I had recorded 3 songs. Well, one of them's a spoken word piece that you wanted to talk about,
hmm.
but I recorded those early on before I ever started as a gondolier. And I noticed how much my voice has improved now. So I want to go back and re-record those
Of
songs.
course, of course. And hopefully we can help facilitate that. That would be wonderful.
Ah,
Um,
awesome.
so, okay, so you kind of, kind of led me into it, that your lovely spoken piece, Darkness of Illusion. Um, can you tell me about it?
Well, it's just one of those things that just kind of channeled from the goddess.
Hmm.
It just started resonating into my brain, and the words were just coming in like being spoken into my head. And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, wait, where's the pen? Hold on. And I just it's just the sensual side of the goddess, and the rawness of everything,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which there's more too. There's more
Uh-huh.
coming out, but that's generally how my songs just happen. I can hear it just all of a sudden. I hear it in my brain,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'll think, oh wait, that doesn't sound right, and I'll change a sentence or two. But some of the songs they just get channeled down to me that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other songs I struggle to get a melody with.
Oh
It's
my.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. So
Sometimes the
dark.
melody comes with it. Darkness of Illusion. What
Yes.
what what questions do you have about it?
Well, really, I mean, you kind of answer them, but I'd love to get a little bit more depth. I mean, you said it was channeled, and that it really is the about that aspect of the goddess. I'd really like to get some more of your take on that, some more of the thought behind it, and not so much how it developed, because obviously it was a channeled piece. You can almost tell
Right.
that when you listen to it. Um, but what is it when a person listens to it? It brings, for me, it brought this like visceral feeling of going down back into, we do a descent for this time of year,
Yes.
and it just brought me into this visceral place of like almost like they talk about with Erishkigal, and how the ripping, the ripping away of everything before her sister came and actually could see her. I mean, that's a kind of visceral feeling
Right.
that I got when
Oh,
I
wow.
listened to that song. So I just
Well,
really.
yeah, I guess you would, because she says because the song, the piece is like wait, and I've got to think of the words now, because usually I can recite the whole thing from beginning to end, but now like where's the piece I'm looking for? Um Yeah, I know, like in the beginning, it's like, reveal yourself to me as I stand naked before you, hiding
Hmm.
nothing. I beckon, enter into my garden and taste of my fruit. Let its
Hmm.
nectar linger on your tongue in sweet delight. Fill yourself until you hunger no more. I mean, that's the
Hmm.
one piece it's just like, I'm here in all of my glory. I'm hiding nothing, and I want you to do the same. You can't hide from me. I'm the goddess.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna take a little break here, and we're gonna actually listen to Darkness of Illusion, and
Okay,
um and then we can, if you'd like, we can talk some more about it after that, or we can talk about whatever else you want to talk about. So
sure.
everybody now, Samina Ocean's Darkness of Illusion. Welcome back, everyone. We've just, I hope you all enjoyed Darkness of Illusion. And I'm sitting here with Samina Ocean out there in Las Vegas. And boy, I got to tell you, it's still visceral and it is still amazing every
Thank you
time I
so
listen
much.
to this. Um, so, I think that's what the beauty is of the song, is that it really takes you, and it really does strip away everything that isn't real. And it's really telling you that she sees it all. That's really amazing. Um, so
And it's all about perfect trust and perfect love, because
yeah.
it says, unlock your door in perfect trust so that I may enter,
Hmm.
and crawl in and bathe in the warmth of your soul, healing you with my breath, my touch, my love. So
Hmm.
it's like, it's once you let the goddess in for real, then you can get healed from a lot of your pains
Hmm.
and darkness within,
Hmm.
the darkness of illusion, the darkness
Hmm.
of the illusion that we can get trapped in, you know,
Hmm.
which is now the illusions that are manifesting now are pretty heavy. And
Yeah.
the realities as well. But once, if we can stay in our focus of perfect love, perfect trust, love and light, and at least we can help illuminate our part of the world and stay uh, trying to keep this world in balance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I appreciate that. So I kind of leads us because I know that we're coming close to the time that we have slated for this, and I'm really honored to be able to spend this time with you, and
Oh, thank you.
I hope to get to see you in person here at one of the events. Like I said, I'm sorry I missed you at Starwood. Um, and that just means I have to get out to Las Vegas. I just have to keep my pocketbook away from the casinos. That's
Well, there's
evil.
more to do in Vegas than the Strip. A lot
I
more.
see. I need people like you to help me understand
You
that
have a
because
tour guide right here.
all right, all right. Well, I'll take you up on that with my partner.
Okay.
What 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 would be your message right now to our viewers? What is it that is from your soul to their soul?
Just living in your bliss, your true self. Um, Finding that whatever lead you have inside and doing what it takes to turn that into gold. You know, going to all night fire circles or whatever it is. Um, Stay connected to nature. Right now, things are crazy, and if you get too wrapped up in the darkness of it, it'll consume you. And we need to stay in the light, more now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what I am focused on every day, and being thankful for what we have every second and
Mm-hmm.
staying in the now.
Mm. Staying in the now. That's yes, absolutely. Well, I do appreciate now, Simina, um where can people find your music, websites, your circle? This is kind of like
Well,
your little bit of commercial time,
right now, called the cauldron.net,
right?
Cauldron Radio. And I do have uh, a YouTube channel, Samina Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I'm working on getting more recordings out there and getting more music on the Cauldron
Mm-hmm.
and on my channel. I've written some new songs, and I've got some other ones that I need to get recorded. I have a friend that's got a studio that keeps, like, oh, I need this part, I need that part. I'm like, well, hurry up. I need to get more music out there.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the two places that you can find my music right now and in the future.
All right. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me, and with all of us here at Fringe TV. We love what you're doing, and we want to see more of you. And blessings to you, and have a
Blessings
really
to you.
wonderful night. Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaste.